The air is thick with the impossible. It is the late 1980s, a time of giants and kings. The place is a palace of noise and light, a legendary arena in Inglewood, California, known to the world as the Forum. Tonight, it is a cathedral of sport, consecrated to the religion of purple and gold. The roar of 16,000 souls presses in from all sides, a physical weight on the chest. It smells like hot dogs, spilled soda, and the electric tang of ozone from the massive scoreboard hanging like a jealous god over the court. The hardwood floor below gleams under the television lights, a perfect, honey-colored stage where modern myths are made and broken. The game is in a lull, a timeout. The frantic ballet of giants has paused, the squeak of sneakers and the percussive thud of the ball momentarily silenced. In this brief pocket of manufactured calm, the real world shrinks. It shrinks to a single row of seats. The most expensive seats in the house, courtside. Here, the air is different. It is rarefied. It carries the scent of expensive cologne, of leather, of money, of influence. This is where the gods of the city come to watch the other gods play. And tonight, two of the most powerful deities in the public pantheon are sitting side by side. This moment, this brief pause in a basketball game, is not yet history. It is just a conversation between two men. But it is a conversation that will ripple through time, a challenge that will either become legend or be buried and forgotten under the weight of 1,000 other celebrity encounters. A moment that will test the boundary between sport and something far more primal. One of them is a king of this domain. He is the magician, the maestro of the hardwood. He stands 6 feet, 9 inches tall, a colossus of fluid grace and impossible charisma. His kingdom is this 94-foot stretch of polished maple. His magic wand is a leather sphere. With a flick of his wrist, he can bend the physics of the game to his will. A no-look pass that defies geometry. A skyhook that kisses the glass with impossible softness. His power is in his smile, a megawatt beacon that has captured the heart of a city, of a nation. It is a smile that says, I am in control. This is my world, and we are all going to have a wonderful time in it. He is an icon of joy, of spectacle, of winning with a flair that borders on the supernatural. He is a champion many times over. His body is a monument to athletic perfection, a long-limbed frame of powerful muscle, conditioned for endurance, for explosive leaps, for the grueling marathon of a professional season. He understands force. He understands leverage. He understands what it is to impose his will physically on other world-class athletes, men who are themselves mountains of muscle and determination. He has battled in the paint, held his ground, absorbed the contact, and emerged victorious. He is, in his world, invincible. He is loved. He is adored. He is a symbol of everything bright and hopeful. Then there is the other man. He is not a king of this domain. He is a king of a much smaller, much darker, much more brutal kingdom. A 20-foot square of canvas surrounded by ropes. He is the fighter, the Iron Man, the baddest man on the planet. He is a different kind of titan entirely. He stands 5 feet, 10 inches tall, a full foot shorter than the man beside him. But his dimensions are deceptive. He is not tall, but he is wide, a block of dense, compacted muscle. His neck is a column of sheer power, wider than most men's thighs, a pedestal for a head that seems perpetually lowered, coiled, ready. His power is not in his smile. His power is in his stillness. It is a terrifying stillness, the predatory calm of a great shark hanging motionless in the water. It is the stillness of a thundercloud waiting to break. His world is not about outscoring an opponent. His world is about rendering another man unconscious. It is a science he has perfected, a brutal, efficient, and terrifying art form. He has no-look passes of his own. They are called hooks, uppercuts, and they arrive from angles the human eye struggles to track. He too is a champion, the youngest heavyweight champion in history. His body is not built for marathons. It is a machine built for a single purpose, the instantaneous delivery of catastrophic force. Every muscle, Every sinew, every fiber of his being is honed for the singular goal of explosion. He is not loved in the same way. He is feared. He is respected. He is a symbol of something primal, something dangerous, something that modern society likes to pretend it has evolved beyond. He is a walking, breathing reminder of the violence that underpins the natural world. And here they sit, the god of the open court and the god of the closed ring, light and shadow, joy and fear. The conflict did not start with malice. It never does between men of this stature. It started with the casual bravado that lives in the space between champions. The air is electric with their combined presence. People in the rows behind them are not watching the cheerleaders on the court. They are watching the two legends. The magician, ever the showman, is holding court. He is laughing, his voice a familiar, booming baritone that cuts through the arena's din. He gestures with a hand the size of a dinner plate. He is talking about power, about toughness. He had been an athlete his entire life. Since he was a boy, he had been bigger, stronger, faster than everyone else. He had learned to use that size, that strength, to dominate. He had felt the impact of bodies colliding at full speed. He had braced himself, held his ground, and been the one left standing. He understood impact as a part of his job, a professional hazard he had long ago mastered. A shoulder to the chest, an elbow to the ribs, a hard fall on the unforgiving wood. These were the currencies of his trade. He believed, in the way that only a truly elite athlete can, in the resilience of his own body. He believed he was indestructible. The fighter sits beside him, a quiet node of gravity in the magician's glittering orbit. He is listening. He is not smiling. He rarely smiles in public. His face is a mask of placid neutrality, but his eyes are active. They are not watching the magician. They are watching a point in the middle distance, seeing something no one else can see. Perhaps he is seeing the geometry of a knockout. Perhaps he is contemplating the philosophy of force. The magician, caught up in the energy of the crowd and the thrill of his own charisma, turns to the smaller man. The smile on his face is wide, genuine, and full of the innocent arrogance of a man who has never known true, debilitating fear. The laughter from their small entourage swells. It is a joke. It is a moment of locker room banter played out on a public stage. And then the words are spoken. The challenge is defined. It is a simple, almost childish declaration. "You know," the magician says, leaning in, his voice still carrying the echo of his laugh, "I'm a big guy. I'm strong." He pauses, letting the moment build. He looks at the fighter, this compact engine of destruction beside him. He sees the size difference. He feels his own 6'9" frame, his 220 pounds of elite athletic muscle. He cannot reconcile it with the smaller man's reputation. The disconnect is too great. In his world, size and leverage are paramount. "I bet I could take your punch," he says. The words hang in the air for a fraction of a second. They are absurd. They are naive. They are a profound misunderstanding of the physics and metaphysics of the fighter's world. It is a house cat telling a tiger it can withstand its bite. It is a canoe telling a hurricane it can ride out the storm. The laughter around them falters. There is a sudden, sharp intake of breath from a few who are close enough to hear clearly. The statement is a dare, a challenge born of ignorance, not malice. It is a challenge to the fighter's entire existence. It questions the very foundation of his life's work. It minimizes the terrifying art he has honed to a razor's edge. The stakes are now set. They are not monetary. There is no belt on the line. The stakes are far more essential. The stake is reality. For the magician, his reputation for toughness is on the line, but more than that, his fundamental belief in his own physical superiority. His entire identity is built on being the biggest, strongest, most gifted athlete in the room. To him, a punch is just a more focused version of the collisions he endures every night. He cannot conceive of the difference. He cannot imagine a force so total, so absolute, that his own considerable power would be rendered meaningless. For the fighter, everything is on the line. His art, his science, his identity. He is not a sportsman in the same way. He is a practitioner of what he calls the hurt business. His entire philosophy is built on the idea that his power is of a different order of magnitude. It is not sport, it is a simulation of death. To allow this challenge, this fundamental misunderstanding, to go unanswered would be to invalidate his truth. It would be to concede that his terrifying power is, in fact, just part of a game, and his life is no game. The negotiation is silent. It is instantaneous. The fighter does not speak. He does not argue. He does not posture. He simply turns his head. Slowly. The motion is deliberate, unnervingly smooth. He turns his head, and for the first time he looks directly at the magician. His eyes are not angry. They are not amused. They are the eyes of a master craftsman who has been asked to demonstrate his trade. They are calm, they are clear, and they hold in them a complete encyclopedic knowledge of human frailty. In that look, he accepts the terms. The terms are simple. Show me. The universe, which had shrunk to the courtside seats, now shrinks further. It becomes the inches of air between two men. The roar of the 16,000 is gone. The lights of the arena are gone. The game on the court is a distant, irrelevant dream. There is only the challenge, the challenger, and the master. The few people around them who heard the words are now frozen. The playful banter has evaporated. The air is now cold, sharp, and humming with a terrible energy. They are about to witness something. They do not know what it will be, but they know it will be definitive. The final moments of anticipation stretch into an eternity. It is perhaps 8 seconds of real time, but in this compressed reality, it is a lifetime. The magician is still wearing the ghost of his smile. It is a nervous, flickering thing now. The confidence has begun to leak from it. He sees the look in the fighter's eyes, and for the first time, a seed of doubt begins to sprout in the fertile ground of his pride. He tries to hold his ground. He puffs his chest out slightly, a subconscious act of bracing for an impact he still believes he can withstand. He is a mountain preparing for a tremor. The fighter remains still, a study in potential energy. He is the earthquake. He sits in his seat, his posture unchanged. He does not need to rise. He does not need to square his shoulders. His power does not come from posture. It comes from a much deeper place. It is coiled in his hips, his torso, his thick, solid legs. It is a spring of unimaginable tension, waiting for the slightest release. This is the pre-confrontation ritual, the boast of the challenger, the stillness of the master, the final breath before the storm. Then the action begins. It is not an action of aggression. It is an action of education. The fighter's body moves. It is not a large movement. It is a subtle, almost imperceptible shift, a slight rotation of the torso, a twitch of the shoulder, barely visible under his jacket. It is the beginning of the kinetic chain, the start of the process that has crumbled men who were built of granite and grit. The energy travels from the ground, up through his legs, torques in his hips, and whips through his core. His right arm, which had been resting calmly, is no longer there. It is a blur, a streak of flesh-colored lightning that cuts through the space between them. There is no sound except for the faint, sharp hiss of fabric slicing through the air. It is the sound of physics being rewritten. The punch is not a wild swing. It is a perfectly engineered piston of bone and muscle. It travels less than 2 feet, but in that distance, it accelerates to a velocity that seems impossible from a seated position. The fist is a blurred missile. It is aimed directly at the center of the magician's handsome, smiling face, and then it stops. It does not make contact. It halts a single, impossible inch from the skin of the magician's chin. It stops with a control so absolute, so perfect, that it is more terrifying than any impact could ever be. The fist just hangs there in the air, vibrating with the ghost of its arrested momentum. The shockwave, however, does not stop. The displaced air, compressed by the sheer speed of the fist, arrives a millisecond before the fist itself. It is a solid wall of wind. It smacks into the magician's face. His eyes, which had been wide with a mixture of bravado and dawning fear, slam shut involuntarily. His head snaps back. The smile is not just gone, it is annihilated. His face, in that instant, is a mask of pure, unadulterated terror. It is the face of a man who has just seen the specter of his own demise. He does not just flinch. His entire 6'9" frame recoils. He is no longer a mountain. He is a sapling in a hurricane. He lurches backward in his expensive courtside chair, his long limbs flailing for a moment with a complete loss of his legendary coordination. He almost tumbles over. He catches himself, but the grace is gone. He is just a man, a scared man. The shocking outcome is not a knockout. It is an awakening. The fighter's fist is still there, an inch from where the magician's chin used to be. He holds it there for a heartbeat, a punctuation mark at the end of a very short, very brutal sentence. Then, just as smoothly as it appeared, the fist retracts. The arm is once again resting calmly. The fighter has not moved from his seat. His expression is exactly the same, placid, neutral. The only thing that has changed is the entire universe of the man sitting next to him. There is a vacuum of sound. The witnesses, the few who were watching, are utterly silent. Their mouths are open. Their minds are struggling to process what they just saw. They saw a punch that did not land, but which knocked the soul out of a giant. They saw a demonstration of power so immense that the mere suggestion of it was enough to shatter a man's reality. The magician is breathing heavily now. His chest heaves. Cold sweat beads on his forehead. The color has drained from his face. He stares at the fighter, but his eyes are different. The arrogance is gone. The playful confidence is gone. The belief in his own invincibility has been pulverized into dust. In its place is something new. Awe, fear, and the dawning light of a profound and terrible understanding. He has just looked into a different world. A world where charisma does not matter, where size does not matter, where athletic prowess does not matter. A world where the only thing that matters is the ability to deliver a very specific, very final kind of force. He has just been taught a lesson. The most effective lessons are the ones that are felt, not just heard. The crowd roars as the game resumes on the court, oblivious. But here, in the silent bubble of courtside, a different kind of game has just concluded. The fighter finally breaks his silence. He leans in close to the still reeling magician. His voice is not loud. It is not boastful. It is quiet, raspy, and carries the weight of 1,000 brutal truths. It is the voice of a teacher. "You see," he whispers, the words intended for an audience of one. It's not about the hit. The magician can only stare, his mind a whirlwind of shock and adrenaline. The fighter continues his lesson. "The power isn't in my fist landing on your chin," he explains, his voice calm and methodical. "The power is in the intention. The power is in the certainty." He gestures slightly with his head. "When I begin, my mind is already there. My mind has already completed the action. My body just follows the path that my mind has already cleared." He pauses, letting the philosophical weight of the words sink in. "What you felt was not wind. What you felt was my intention. You felt the certainty that if I did not stop, your world would end right here. That is what fear is. It's the soul recognizing an undeniable, unstoppable truth." He leans back again, the lesson delivered. He is not a bully gloating over his victim. He is a master who has just revealed a fundamental principle of his craft to a student who did not know he had enrolled in the class. The magician slowly, finally, begins to process the experience. The adrenaline begins to recede, replaced by a cold, clear wave of realization. Shame floods in first, shame for his arrogance, shame for his ignorance. He, a master of one universe, had casually dismissed the master of another. He had mistaken the deadliest art for a common sport. He had confused a killer with a player. Then shame gives way to respect. A deep, profound, and humbling respect. He looks at the fighter, this man he had viewed as a curiosity, a smaller, less sophisticated kind of athlete. He now sees him for what he is, a vessel of a power he cannot comprehend. A man who lives so close to the precipice of violence and control that he can stop a fatal blow an inch from its target. That control, he realizes, is the true power, not the speed, not the force, but the absolute mastery to wield it like a scalpel and not a sledgehammer. He finds his voice. It is not the booming, confident baritone of the magician. It is a quiet, humbled whisper. I had no idea," he says. The words are an apology. They are a confession. They are an admission of a lifetime of misunderstanding. The fighter simply nods. He does not say, "I told you so." He does not need to. The lesson is complete. The student has accepted the teaching. The transformation is instantaneous and total. The magician will never again confuse the rules of a game with the laws of survival. He will never again underestimate a man based on his size. He has been given a gift, wrapped in terror, the gift of perspective. The 8-second encounter is over. The two men sit for the rest of the game, a new dynamic between them. The magician is quieter now, more thoughtful. The fighter is unchanged. His work is done. The story of that night did not make the papers. There were no cameras perfectly positioned to capture the silent drama. It became a legend. It was a story told by the few who witnessed it. It was passed from trainer to player, from agent to journalist, in hushed tones in locker rooms, in gyms, in late-night bars. Like all legends, it grew with each telling. Some said the punch landed. Some said the magician was knocked out of his chair. But the core of the story, the essential truth, remained the same. A giant, confident in his power, challenged a master of a deadlier art. And the master taught him the difference in less than 10 seconds without laying a finger on him. The event became a parable, a modern fable about pride and humility. The long-term impact on the magician was profound. Years later, he would tell the story himself, not with shame, but with a kind of reverent humor. He used it as a lesson for younger, cockier players, a story to illustrate that there are always levels to power, and that it is wise to respect the masters of realms you do not understand. It did not diminish his own greatness. It deepened it. It added a layer of humility and wisdom to his legendary charisma. It showed that even the greatest can learn, that even the most invincible have moments of profound vulnerability, and in that vulnerability they can find a new kind of strength. The story of that night, of that feinted punch, is not truly about a fighter and a basketball player. It is not about violence or the threat of it. It is about the chasm between two different kinds of knowledge, the knowledge of the sportsman and the knowledge of the warrior. The sportsman's goal is to win within a set of rules. His excellence is measured in points, in victories, in championships. His art is one of performance. The warrior's goal is to prevail when there are no rules. His excellence is measured in survival, in efficiency, in the absolute neutralization of a threat. His art is one of finality. The magician, for all his greatness, was a sportsman. He understood the language of competition. The fighter was a warrior. He understood the language of combat. And on that night, for 8 terrifying seconds, he translated one into the other. The explicit moral of the legend is this: true mastery is not about the application of power. It is about the perfect understanding and control of it. The greatest strength is not the force you can unleash, but the force you can choose not to. It is a lesson in respect. Respect for the expertise of others, especially in fields you have not walked yourself. It is a warning against the arrogance that comes with being at the top of your own mountain, an arrogance that can blind you to the fact that other, steeper, more dangerous mountains exist. And it is a testament to the fact that the most profound lessons are often the quietest ones, delivered not in a roar, but in a whisper, delivered in the silent, terrifying space of a single inch.